Yo, how's it going, everybody? It's MacklinGaming, and we are almost at the end of the year 2025. We're here in November. It's insane to think about how the year moves so fast, but we're finally towards the end, towards holiday season here, and people are going to probably start looking into buying video games, buying consoles, whatever it is. So today I want to talk about each of the big three video game companies, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and I want to talk about each one of them that puts out their own console and their own exclusive video games and what each one's like, because they all function very differently and they have different business plans and different business models and very different games as well. So if you're looking to buy a new system or a new console or some new games and you're not sure which company or which platform is right for you, I'm gonna try and help you out with this video and see what you guys think after talking about the big three. Let's go. So before we start, I just want you to know this is not about picking a side and then hating the other side, right? This is not tribal about Team Xbox and screw PlayStation. I like all of them. You know, I have a Switch 2, I have a PS5 and a PC. So I love video games, and if it comes out on a PlayStation or a Nintendo, doesn't matter to me. I just like each one for their differences and their unique exclusive games. So let's take a look at these companies and let's see what I'm talking about here. First of all, we're going to start with Xbox, because Xbox is the most crazy right now. They're the most exciting because they're kind of failing the console wars. Like, the console wars for them are over, and that is against Sony PlayStation. They lost. The PlayStation 5 has outsold the Series X like almost 5-1 or something. It's an insane amount of units. The Xbox consoles have just kind of failed here in this generation. So what is Microsoft doing with Xbox? They're trying to push Game Pass and streaming video games. That is their model going forward. They really can't sell their box that plays video games on it, their Xbox, anymore. I mean, yes, people have them. Of course, they're still popular, but you know, they're just not making the money. They're not successful with their business as far as the Xbox console is concerned. So what are they doing? They're pushing the streaming video game business. So you can get Xbox Game Pass and you can subscribe to it each month for like $30. They just raised the price and everyone's very angry about that. But you have all these video games that you could never dream of finishing playing because there's so many games, but you don't own any of them. You're, renting them. It's exactly like Netflix. So Xbox has this service. You can even just buy the Xbox console, download Game Pass, and play all these games on your console. It seems like a waste of money to me because you can do that on your TV, on your tablet. Xbox is like play anywhere now. So they're abandoning the console. I mean, it looks like they'll still make one in the future for the next generation. However, it's going to be very highly priced, and it's going to be a very luxury item. This is not really for buying for the kids anymore in the future. Well, you could do that for the Xbox Series right now, but not for the next generation console that's not out yet. That sounds like it'll be a doozy. So with Xbox, it's really like, do you want to stream your video games from any device you can, instead of just sit down, turn on that console, pop a game in, and play on your big screen TV. You can still play on the big screen with Game Pass, but it's like, if you're streaming games, you know how it is. It can be a little laggy. You can get glitches and stutters that don't really have to do with the game. It has to do with your internet connection. So to stream video games, you need to have a great internet connection. There's that as well. It's a business that I personally don't support and don't see going well in the future, but that is one option where Xbox is concerned: streaming video games anywhere and not owning them yourself. Put the icing on the cake with Xbox, they just took Halo, their first party legendary video game franchise, and moved it to PlayStation. There's going to be a remake coming out, Halo Campaign Evolved, and that's coming out on PlayStation consoles for the first time ever. Halo's back from 2001. So here we are 25 years later, and it'll be on PlayStation. So that's just a crazy thing to think about for me. But that's where Xbox is going. They're trying to push their games out to other consoles and to stream games anywhere, not even on their Xbox console. You can stream on anything. Heck, they'll probably put Game Pass on PlayStation 5 soon. So let's jump to Xbox's closest competitors there, Sony, PlayStation. Sony has been selling their PlayStation 5 so well. They just haven't been putting out exclusive games. This year, I think there's only been like 1 or 2, Ghost of Yotei, and then, you know, Kojima's Death Stranding is not first party. Some people forget that. They just have a deal to make it exclusive with Kojima. Kojima doesn't work for Sony. You know, they just made a deal, that's all. But not enough first party games coming out. Insomniac's Wolverine has been waiting to be developed for years. That finally got an announcement for Sony to come out next year. That'll be a game you can only play on PS5. So if you love Marvel, if you love Spider-Man and Wolverine, you must check out the PlayStation 5 because that has Insomniac Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. 3 Spider-Man games you could play, and then next year is Wolverine. So if you're looking at Marvel stuff, that would be a great console, the PS5. The PS5 also plays so many other third-party games. So as much as Sony's been lacking in their first-party games, they have been putting out all the other big games you want to play. Battlefield 6, you know, whatever it is, it's on the PlayStation 5. I play all my third-party games on the PS5. I just love that console. It's very slick. The UI still feels like modern. You know, like when I first turned my PS5 on, when I first got it back in 2021, I was like, oh, this is so futuristic. And the UI still holds up. They didn't change much to it. You know, they never really gave you like themes to customize your background, but except for the 30th anniversary PlayStation themes, which they then took away. Anyway, I'm rambling about stuff that doesn't matter, but the UI looks slick. The controller is amazing. The DualSense 5 is amazing. Feels great with the haptic feedback. That's one thing the PS5 does better than Xbox consoles and Nintendo is they have really great like rumble in the controllers and it feels very lifelike. So Sony is still following the classic model of put out a new console, make some first party games, even if they're just too few and far between these days, but they're going for that old school approach because it works for them and they're making money still doing it. One other thing about Sony's approach is not only do they put their first party games on PS5, but they also are putting them now on PC. So if you are kind of a Microsoft guy and you're an Xbox guy and you have a PC, you can still play PlayStation exclusive games on Steam. And hopefully they don't come up with their own PlayStation launcher yet. But that's very interesting that PlayStation has their exclusive games and they're putting them on PC, which is like behind enemy lines, so to speak. It's very fascinating to see this crossover happening between the two of Xbox and PlayStation now. But let's move on to the final company, Nintendo, who puts out the Nintendo Switch. And this year, the Nintendo Switch 2. They have always been one step in a different direction, out in left field from Sony and Microsoft, right? They don't try and compete with those two. And they do a great job on their own because they're not pushing realistic graphics in their games. They're pushing really nice art styles, oftentimes very animated art styles, right? Like anime, cartoony graphics for the casual people out there. But that stuff holds the test of time. You have to realize, like, you'll look back on a game that looks realistic, you know, from 2010, and it's like, oh man, now it doesn't look great at all. But you go back and look at a game like Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, which has the most cel-shaded, cartoony graphics, but that'll just never look bad. It'll never look old. You know, you can still play Wind Waker today and be like, oh, this is a nice looking game. This is a fun game. It's great. Most of them have just a really great art style and focus on gameplay. They're not focusing on the most cutting edge graphics and deep narrative storylines with like sad dads in them. You know, they're just looking at gameplay. How fun is it to control this character and move around in the game? What are you doing in the game and how do you get rewarded for it? Nintendo games are master classes at this and their developers are the masters. So I love playing Pokemon games, Legend of Zelda games, Mario, you know, Donkey Kong Bonanza that came out this year. These are all incredible gameplay games and just a joy to play. You can only play them on Nintendo as well. So if you're a Pokemon fan or you know like your kids are, or Mario or Donkey Kong, I mean, that's Nintendo Switch. So get them a Switch or a Switch 2. The Switch 2 console came out this year. It's amazing, handheld, and you can play it on the TV. So it has the same hybrid function that the Switch 1 has. It's just more powerful, and it can play more better looking games like Donkey Kong Bonanza. So as a Nintendo kid growing up, Nintendo's been like one of my personal favorites. I've always had a soft spot for their games. And, you know, as people get older and become adults, they're like, oh, Nintendo's for kids. But no, not for us 30-year-old millennials. Nintendo is still awesome. So I do enjoy my Switch 2. I play it a lot. And currently I'm playing a lot of Pokemon Legends EA. So to sum that all up, Xbox is going for that streaming, play your video games anywhere, but you don't own them type of game plan here. Sony PlayStation is still selling their slick console, making their awesome first-party games, and inviting all the third-party games to their console as well. So that's a great idea if you still like to collect physical games and you just want to buy a console you can just pop a game into and play on your TV, and it's nice and powerful. That would be the PS5. Or the PS5 Pro I didn't mention. There's like a higher end model, couple more $100 more expensive, but it plays PlayStation games and the third-party games even better resolution and frame rate. So it is only really worth it for me if you're like very rich and money is not a big deal. Otherwise, just buy the base PS5, you'll be fine. And finally, Nintendo is out in their own world with their own characters, their mascots like Mario and Pokemon, making tons of money, making great games for all ages to play, focusing on gameplay rather than graphics. So what do you guys think about the big three in the state that they're in today? How do you think they're going to do in the future? Right? Which one's gonna sink? Which one's gonna swim? Which one of these platforms are you gonna invest your time and money into? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. I hope this video helped you guys out. Or if you're a big gamer, it's just fun to talk about the big three and where they're at anyways. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.